Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Big Fitness Podcast. We have a awesome podcast for you today. It's with a guy you might know. His name is Mr. Jeff Lovecchio. This was an awesome podcast. When he came in to do this podcast, he kicked my front door down with two legs. He did like a Chinese or like Asian style like backflip kick, and the door flew open, and he came in here with like awesome energy. And I knew, I was like, this is my guy. This is going to be so much fun. So he really did. He really came in like a fireball. And it was a real treat and an awesome conversation. I usually don't start a podcast like this, but unfortunately, there was something that happened to the audio and something that happened to the video. So I'm going to kind of explain that in a second and then kind of push you guys off onto the podcast. But I'm going to kind of introduce Jeff a little bit, explain what happened to the audio, what we're doing, what you can learn basically in this podcast. And then you guys can kind of make your way through the podcast with Mr. Jeff Lovecchio. So Jeff is a retired pro hockey player after playing with the Bruins. He's a co-host of the Hockey Think Tank podcast, co-host of the Give More, Be More podcast, a trainer of pro, college, and amateur hockey players, athletes, some general population people, mostly groups. He doesn't really do one-on-one stuff anymore. And he's a public speaker. He's got a lot of energy. He's a very passionate trainer. It was really awesome to have him in here and be talking around training. And you can just tell, man, he really loves it. So you can really learn a lot from this guy. I love his content online. That's why I reached out to him to sit down and talk. And you really know when somebody is really about their craft, really has passion for their craft and wants to do it well and wants to do it right. And so this was really cool. So this podcast, really, you get a lot of that out of him. So basically what happened with this podcast is on the way to editing, there was a tragic and I'd say pretty random bear attack. Because when we edit, we like go through the woods and we make our way up like mountain trails, and it's a whole process. And in that process, the bear came out and we lost all the audio and video except for what was left on our backup camera, which just has basically a wide shot and just camera audio. So it is pretty hard to listen to the audio, but it was such a good podcast, such a good conversation that I was like, look, we're going to put this out anyway. So I'm going to put this back out. If you trudge through this, we doctored up this audio to try to make it listenable here. But if you trudge through this, there's a lot of really awesome nuggets. There's a lot of really awesome insight from Jeff, and it's a really energetic conversation. So I think you'll get a lot out of this. We're going to have Jeff back on the podcast later this year, so that way we can deliver something that's a little bit more professional grade in the way that, one, a guy like Jeff Lovecchio deserves, and / like that kind of conversation deserves. So we will have him back on. We will do a round 2 with Jeff later this year. So be looking out for that. But you can basically expect in this podcast Jeff's story of how he got into the profession of hockey, how his career ended and how he ended up doing what he's doing now, which is like training athletes, how Jeff came up with the Give More, Be More message. He talks about how he came up with that. And that's actually a really awesome story. Jeff's thoughts on what makes a true athlete, whether the mental or physical element is more important in becoming a successful athlete. Jeff's thoughts on Tim Grover's 13 Laws of Winning, the art of coaching, which I thought is really awesome, that bit when he goes into that. Who's harder to train, a pro athlete or a general populations person? The main reason people fail at their goals and the main reason why they succeed at their goals. Jeff's thoughts on how to build real confidence and much, much more. So it was an awesome opportunity to sit down with Jeff. It was an awesome opportunity to have a conversation with him. I'm looking forward to doing it again. But I'm just so grateful for the time we had to sit down and rock and roll and give you guys this information. I wish we could have done it in a way that we could have given it to you with better quality, but this is what we got. And so without further ado, Jeff Lovecchio, motherfuckers, enjoy.
It's not normal. Yeah. Like I had a pretty big network and I went on big podcasts and stuff like that. But I was like, whoa, like for me to make 10 grand in the gym back then, I'd have to work pretty hard to make 10 grand. And, I made it from sitting in my house.
Yeah, that's fucking insane. So you weren't doing any social media stuff, not social media, but like online training?
The only online training I had was I would use PDFs for pro athletes and I would send them videos that I would look up on YouTube of other people because I didn't have any of my own videos, and I'd be like, this is what I want it to look like. So I would have to like write out their program, then I'd have to go to YouTube, search all the exercises, and then literally go through the videos to make sure the coach in that video was doing it the way I wanted them to do it. So it wasn't just like, oh, here's a rear foot elevated split squat. It's like, no, I want this shin angle. Yeah. I want your torso at this angle. I want you holding the weights like this. Like, so I had to like go through and vet the videos. And I was like, damn, I just make my own videos, and that changed everything for me.
And then like with like your, this guy, was Matt always involved?
No. So after I started my online training during COVID, I was able to make, like two businesses, like two different ways of bringing in income. And I was like, okay, I'm seeing that. And I also have a pretty big podcast. I have a podcast called the Hockey Think Tank Podcast. Yeah, I got you. And it's, we're probably closer to 2 million downloads now. Last time I checked was like 6 months ago, maybe 8 months ago, we were over 1.5 million. So it's pretty big. And that started driving sales for my online training for teams and organizations and players who listen to the podcast and wanted me to train them online. And I was like, well, I want to show more people what I'm doing in the gym so they can try out my online training, because like, look at all of these elite athletes who work with me and trust me and look what we're doing. So I was like, okay, I need somebody to film it though, because at that time I was walking around with my phone, coaching and yelling at them, not even looking at what my phone is seeing, just like, hey, do it this way. But I was just like holding my phone here, hoping that it was a good shot. And then I would post that. And it was just like crappy. Like, who wants to watch that? I'm yelling, the camera's shaking, So I was like, okay, I'll try having somebody come in and film. And I was like, I'm gonna try this for a month. We'll see what happens. And I loved, like, it wasn't a home run right away, but I loved that it allowed me to display how I coach, why I'm coaching, what we're doing, all the different athletes I'm working with, and just like, I love teaching people about the gym. The gym has changed my life. The only reason that I played junior hockey, that I got a Division I scholarship, that I played 10 years pro, was because of the gym.
That's interesting.
I am obsessed with the gym, and I also am obsessed with what it does for non-athletes too. Healthy life, confidence, doing hard things, like keeping promises to yourself, responsibility, time management. So many things that the gym teaches human beings. So I'm obsessed with it. So I just wanted to show it more. So I realized after that first month, like, oh, I'm getting more people messaging me, more people asking me stuff. And I was like, okay, like, I just need to make money in other ways so I can keep paying for them to come in and film and stuff. And that's what we've been doing ever since.
Dude, that's fucking badass. And I can totally 100% feel that out of you in your videos. I've been a trainer for 11 years. I played football in college, but I played football in college so that I could learn how to increase my ability to like perform. Mm-hmm. It's always been about performance for me. Like, how can I increase my performance? Once I learned you can change the way your body performs based on what things that you can do. I was like, wait a second, what? This is insane. And then giving that to people, that's where I was spending all my time. And so it was like, how can I force myself to keep trying to figure this out? Next endeavor. But it was never the endeavor. It was always like the performance thing that really got me going. It's like, yeah, I'll go do the football, but it's like, really, it's like, I'm interested in the thing that I'm using to like do the football.
Yeah.
And I don't like fully realize that until like my senior year in college, when I was like, I am spending so much more time thinking about the training and so much less time thinking about the actual sport. So that's actually a question I have for you, dude. Actually, also, I usually start the podcast saying, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Big Fitness Podcast. No, it's good. I love it, dude. I fucking love it. Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, this is awesome, dude. It's an honor to have you on, dude. You're a fucking dope, dude. You resonate with your vibe. Just resonates with me so much, man. I love how stoked you are about this shit.
Yeah, that's it. I walked in here and I was like, oh, this place is nasty.
It's kind of
like your gear in here is very high level. Like you've got awesome stuff. And I don't just mean like you got a lot of stuff, you have good stuff. So
dude, when I started,
really cool.
When I started this place, it was a weird, crazy thing where like I basically was kind of forced to do it within like 4 weeks. I was training at a gym where I was basically like just contracting. I was trying to moved into St. Louis. Nobody knew me for 2 years. I built a following. Something happened. Then I had to kind of do this in like 4 weeks. So I was like, what is the bare minimum? And then I created a system around the bare minimum. I was like, what is it? Barbell, dumbbell, 4 machines, RDL. And then I created a system around the absolute bare minimum. And then I basically just created 3 pods. And then COVID made me do the pods because we were just doing whatever. And then I built a little personal training team. And we've been successful over the past 5 years. Now we want to kind of move to a different thing, but it's just funny that you say that because I never really think that. I'm like, I think, how can I do less? It's funny. How can I do less equipment, but still stay as effective?
Yeah.
I kind of think that's been my way of thinking because I feel like this is just sort of the way I generally think about training is that, and I know this is kind of controversial. Let me hear what you think about this. Because I had a guy on about variety, is that the more you increase variety, and this isn't that variety is bad, but the more you increase variety and the more frequently you add variety in, the further away from optimization. So
well, it depends on what your goals are. You know, I look at everything starts with what is the goal? Why are you training? Okay, well now let's reverse engineer that from what the goal is. Let's say you're training for American Ninja Warrior. Okay, when is the training? When is that competition? Okay, it's August 1st. All right, well today is February 25th. Okay, so this is when we need you to peak to be an optimal Ninja Warrior training, physique, performance, everything, feeling good, mentally, physically, emotionally, diet, sleep, everything needs to be dialed here to perform your best on August 1st. Well, now we're going to reverse engineer the periodization down to here. And so obviously you need to progressively overload exercises and movements and also progress them in difficulty and things like that. So I would just say I like to bring in a lot of variety into my warm-ups, into my agility, into different ways I'm sprinting. When it comes to lifting, I choose the exercises for the lifts based off of the end goal, but I change them based on the periodization, which depends on how long we have to train. For hockey players in the off season, for the younger players, it might be 6 months. For the NHL guys, it might be 3 months because they play longer, they play more games. You know, they're going way deep. If a guy goes into playoffs, like my guy in the Bruins, should have won the cup last year. They went pretty deep. So he's starting way later than everybody else, but he's still got to start at the same time. So how I progress them kind of depends on the timeline, their goals, all of those things. You know what I mean?
100%. And that's so had a guy, Clifton Harsky was on my podcast.
Fucking love Cliff.
Yeah,
He's my fucking boy. Yeah. Everyone needs to know Cliff. Cliff is one of the best coaches of coaches I've ever met.
Yeah, he was a killer, dude. So anybody listening to this podcast right now, check out that podcast with Clifton because that was a really good one. We talked about that's why I brought him in because I met him at it was a fitness seminar.
Yeah.
And he was giving a speech, and so his whole speech was on variety. So I was like, dude, come on the podcast. Let's talk about let's talk about variety. Let's talk about the what's good and then what's bad because I'm of the mind that there's nothing in training that is the right way to do it. You know, it's like a lot of people like to be like, this is the right way.
There's a million ways to skin a cat.
There's a million ways to skin a cat, 100%.
Dude, people used to chirp me when I didn't have Instagram until after I retired. After that, my last year was the 17-18 season. But I had Twitter, and I used it a little bit, not a lot, because I started my training company after my third year pro when I started playing over in Europe because I had so many concussions. So every summer I'd come home and every year, more and more guys would train with me until after before my 10th year, I worked with 300 players that summer, a little bit over. So I put some of the stuff I was doing on Twitter, and what is really funny, one of my monsters who's been with me since he was 15 years old. He's 6'5", plays college hockey. I put on Twitter him doing cartwheels, and it was his first workout with me. And I'll never forget this because I'm really good friends with his family now. He's been training with me for probably 7 or 8 years. And I guess he went home and his dad was like, "What the fuck are you doing cartwheels on Twitter for? Who is this guy you're training with?" But what's even funnier is that day when I put him on there, I had 2 teams reach out to me who's this 6'5" monster that's super athletic? So like the way that people see things and understand like how the body moves it's just funny, you know. And
100%.
Cliff is like, he's amazing with making you know, he's got what is it? Be able, be functional, be athletic. I think his things are, and his ability to progress and regress exercises are fucking top notch.
You're just killer, man. And that's why I was like, yo, you got to be on the podcast. And it's also why I was like, once I started looking at you after Ben, after he kind of got me like to look into you, I was like, hell yeah, man, you're perfect for the podcast. This is exactly what we want to talk about. But also, I've heard some of your stuff. Like you kind of have, you were playing pro hockey. You had a concussion. You overcame that. You then turn this thing into a business, and then now you are where you are now, which that journey, there's a lot in there. I listened to your podcast with Matt Vincent. I just had Matt Vincent on the podcast.
Beauty, another beauty.
Yeah, killer, dude. Fucking, that was intense.
What a guy.
What a guy. I love that.
Inspirational as fuck.
It's insane. And he was in, so any case, I saw that you were on his podcast, and so, anywho, let's talk about that, man. So first things first, why hockey? What is it about hockey?
My whole family was into hockey. My dad reffed professionally. He reffed pros. He reffed college. He reffed World Juniors in Finland. My uncle played Division I. My cousin, who I'm the same age as, who I do my podcast with, he wound up playing pro hockey as well. Not as high a level as me, but close. He played Division I. He was a Division I coach. We do our podcast together. Like all my cousins play hockey. Everybody plays hockey. So I started skating when I was 2 years old. So, you know, that was the only sport I ever really, really loved. I played baseball, I did karate, but like for me, it was always hockey. And then when I got into training for hockey, I fell in love with training for hockey, much like you said. Like I loved the training. I loved finding ways to get better because I wasn't the most, like obviously I signed 2 NHL deals. I was pretty skilled compared to the world, but at the highest level, at the NHL and the AHL level, I wasn't a skill guy. I had skill, but I wasn't a skill guy. So, like, I had to do everything I could outside of hockey. So, sleep, nutrition, sports psychology on myself, mindset, self-talk, training. I had to do all these other things to get to those levels. So, I'm obsessed with it because I know how it changed my life, but I'm also obsessed with it because I love helping, especially St. Louis hockey players, but any hockey player find that, like, next level of dedication or you know, application in the gym to help them get better. Because like when I was, you know, I just look at my journey of evolution of training, very old school when I was younger, you know, big 3, you know, deadlift, barbell bench press, barbell back squat. And it's like, am I trained to be a power lifter? No, I'm trained to be an athlete. I'm trained to be a hockey player. Everything I'm doing is standing still. Everything I'm doing could be done in a phone booth. Like, yeah, there's a point in your training where that might make sense. I think there's better exercise selection than all 3 of those. But at a certain point, like, this isn't helping you to actually be a better athlete, and better athlete equals better hockey player and any sport.
Dude, 100%. You're totally right, dude. That was like me when I was fucking in football. I didn't go play like pro football at all or anything like that. I just played college at Western Illinois University, but I wasn't a starter. I had to be like on the field before and on the field after, and still not making it with the skill guys.
Right.
But that's like kind of what fascinated me about it. I was like, what do I need to fucking do performance-wise?
Right. Even just to stay at that level.
Yeah. Even just to stay, even if it's just a play.
Because you had to do that.
Yeah. 100%.
You had to be obsessed with it, you know? And now you're able to teach all these other people the ways that you were able to stay at that level.
Yeah.
And that's what we're, you know, like, it's so cool to have people like you, and I think myself.
Oh, for sure.
Matt Vincent, even, like, with
100%.
what his training and what he went through, one of the best athletes in the world at his sport, and now he's teaching other people. Like, I just love that stuff.
So, dude, what do you think makes like a fucking elite athlete? Mm-hmm. Then, if it, is it like what is that? What is it that makes it elite?
First and foremost, mindset. Like where the brain goes, energy flows. You know, where the mind goes, energy flows. Like they have to have a killer mindset. Now, when I was playing, I think in all sports, training was still like, if you were really into training, you had an edge above everybody else. But now, training, everybody has good trainers. Like, you can find good trainers anywhere now. Mm. So, like, and everybody knows you need to eat healthy. Doesn't mean everybody does, but everybody knows it. So, like, at those top levels, like more and every year, like the higher and higher percentage of guys at the highest levels are more and more dialed in because so much money is on the line. And am I going to make the highest level or not? You know, so mindset is number one. Then what makes the best athlete, like being athletic, like not just weight room strong, not just like how can you move? How are your joints healthy? You know, like do you compensate in your movements with a lot of different things, or can you be stiff when you need to be stiff? Can you flow when you need to flow? Because in the gym, like lifting weights is very stiff, like 99% of the time. But when you're playing a sport, other than obviously weightlifting, let's just pretend I'm not talking about that one. Every other sport, you have to be able to express skill while you're moving. So in the gym, lifting, everything is stiff. There's no, like if everything you're doing is stiff, how can I throw a ball? How can I rotate and flow? But like with that, when you're throwing a ball, swinging, hitting, punching, anything, there's power, speed, and strength. But there's flowing, there's linking in the kinetic chain from the foot all the way through the body. But if you're only doing things in a gym that are super stiff, are you working on those properties that really make you better in the sport? So like you've got to have speed, power, strength. You've got to understand spatial awareness. You got to have strong eyes. You've got to have proprioception, balance. You know, like there's so many coordination, both body, hand-eye, foot-eye, and all of these things can be worked on in the gym, and they weren't when I was younger, so I started working on them, and my career just went like that.
Dude, 100%. There was a guy that I met when I was up in Chicago for an internship. He was on the Saints. He was on the New Orleans Saints practice squad. And he was talking about how HGH just runs rampant. It's basically just like people do HGH and like Adderall, like fucking jelly beans, like on the practice squad, because it's just like they need best look.
Do whatever they can.
Whatever you can do to keep it up. It's really like cutthroat out there. But the idea though, I was like, well, so what is HGH like? And he basically said like people think HGH is just about like muscle performance. You can see a fly fucking ripple through the air fucking on HGH.
Oh,
it like slows down. Like you could catch the fly with the, you know, so it's not just that to your point, athleticism is not just physical ability. What is the difference between training a general population person and an athlete if athleticism is basically just a thing that you can build?
Well, I train everybody the same way, but it's just progressions and regressions.
Mm-hmm.
So like if somebody comes with me to train with me, obviously, first and foremost, what are your goals? And I'm going to train you around those goals, but I'm also going to train you in a way that makes you live a better life outside the gym, not just increase your bench press. If increasing your bench press is the goal, barbell bench press, I'm not your guy. I don't want to work with you. I don't really work with people one-on-one either, and I really don't work with anybody who's not an athlete, mainly because there's only so many hours in the day, and I do a lot of things, and if I'm training someone in person, like, there's somebody who like wants to get after it. Like I don't train. I did, you know, years ago when I needed to, and now I don't need to anymore. So like I only want to train people who are there to like fucking work and get better. So if they aren't a current athlete, they're going to train in a way that's going to make them more athletic because that's what I will do. And that could be, there are like I used to train a bunch of moms of the kids that I've trained for years just because I wanted to. And, you know, everybody who trains with me, like they're my family. Like I will take a bullet for anyone I work with. I will step in front of a bus for anyone I work with. That goes for their families too. So I used to train, I used to call them the Ripped Rockets because my company's called Ripped. So I used to call them the Ripped Rockets. There was a couple of moms who I'd work with. And even though their goals were way different than the goals of most of my clients, I still regress the way that I train athletes down to like their level and where they're at. And obviously it's a very far regression. But the goal was to progress them from where they are now to being able to play pickleball without their knees hurting and keeping their shoulders healthy while they're doing yoga classes and like just things like that. You know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean. And dude, this was one thing that I really liked about, so I was listening, you are the co-host of, I don't know if you guys are still doing this or not, but there's a guy down here, Mark Joe with Omen. You guys had the
Get more, be
Get
more.
more, be more
podcasts. Yeah, we
podcasts.
don't do it anymore. We used to.
So I was kind of going through that just to kind of get an idea of like some of the stuff. And there was this one where you guys were talking, and Mark was giving you shit on this, but I actually am on your side with this. You know, he was like, "Hey, don't ever discount like your prices." And he said, "I just caught Jeff discounting a price of family. The family was down to pay full price, but you were like, look, I can do it. If you're all doing it, I can help you out." Like, and he said not to do that. And you're like, sometimes I can't remember exactly what you said, but sometimes the like professional Jeff and the lovey Jeff, they
Yeah, it's something that I've always had a problem.
No, dude, look, that is a indicator that you are a fucking amazing trainer. I don't know what it is about that. What do you think it is about that? Every trainer who's just like, I get the money part. I get it.
Yeah.
But like, it's like, but I also really just want to like give myself to the people I serve. And, you know, I feel like I want to give all of myself to them. And if they can't afford it makes me, you just have this thing if you're a trainer who really cares about, what do you think that is?
Well, with me specifically, like I work with the best hockey players in St. Louis. Like I only work with the best players. That's just like who I enjoy working with, and I'm trying to get them to whatever their goals are, right? And so hockey's really expensive. Like it's gross how expensive it is. Like new skates cost like $1,200, $1,300. New stick now, the highest, like most best performing stick is over $400. And those things break. Like I broke 24 sticks before Christmas my sophomore year of college.
Yeah.
Imagine if, like, obviously college, they're paying for everything. But like, imagine if somebody had to do that, to pay $400 a stick, and they broke 24 before Christmas break. Like that's insane. So I do understand that there are people who want to work with me and who I want to work with because the caliber of player they are, and they can't afford to work with me. Even though I literally charge a fourth of what other trainers around the country who train the level of athletes I do in hockey charge. They charge 4 times what I charge. I'm able to offset those prices a little bit by my business model where I like to work with bigger groups. And I started doing that literally so I didn't have to charge as much. Because like my whole goal is to keep it as affordable as I can. Yeah. And I only accept clients that come to me 4 days a week. So they have to come Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday in the off season.
Why is that?
That's just a split that I like to use. So it's like if you train with me, this is how you train. Like we're not training for fun. We're training to make you the best hockey player you can possibly be. So this is what my program is. So you either are doing this or you're not.
I love that.
You know, and so within that, when there's people who can't afford to pay whatever, you know, I obviously help them and have done that my whole life.
Is there ever any case that you would be like, so I don't know if you're aware of a guy, his name is Tim Grover, and I got some stuff I want to go through with this, but Tim Grover was the personal trainer for Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, these guys. So the personal trainer for like the fucking, the icons, not just the elites, the icons. And he's got this bit on, in a training program, he does this. You're not going to be having any sugar. And so to see if you have what it takes, he says, you're gonna have no sugar for the next like ever for the program. And he's basically like gonna monitor you on your workouts and ask you how you feeling. And if you come back and you're just like, oh, I don't even feel it, you're still eating the sugar. So he will fucking tell your ass to get going if you don't do the thing that's required. Are you like that hard?
Oh,
are you like, look, this is what it is?
My speech to every group when we start the first session, whenever it is like, hey, like I go over, you know, especially with the younger kids when they're first coming in. It's like, guys, like this sounds like dick, but I'm like, guys, like I don't need you. You need me, and I promise you, like if you show up every day, you will be in the best shape you've ever fucking been in by August 1st or August 31st, whatever their end date is training with me. I literally promise you, all I need from you is you show up and you do everything I say with 100% attention to detail and intention to get better. And if you do that, I promise you, you'll be in the best shape you've ever been, and you'll be in the best shape on your team, whatever team you're on. But again, I have a waiting list of over 100 people. If you don't show up every day, if you skip a lot, you know, days where it's not like something where you were sick or your family had a pre-planned vacation, obviously I'm okay with those. But if you don't show up or you show up multiple times and you don't give 100, you're gone. I don't want to work with you. I tell them that in the beginning. And if there's ever anything where I need to bring that up again, it's like, here's your warning. Like, you're not doing what's asked of you. I have a line waiting to be in here. So like and that's not for me, that's for them.
That's for them, yeah.
That's for them, right? Like, and I haven't cut any players in the last, so this would be year 13. It's probably been 9 or 10 years. I cut 2 guys 9 or 10 years.
Why did you implement that? Like, what was
My
that?
time is valuable. I put everything into every training session. So like, if you're coming to work with me, like, I'm putting out a lot of energy, and I'm not putting out energy the way that I do and caring about the way I do if you don't care. Like, I don't want to work with people like that. That's just where it is. And I built my business now to where I have a waiting list. So it's like, if you don't want to be here, I don't want you here. I don't want you here. If you don't enjoy training, I don't want you here. If your goal is not to be the very best you can possibly be, you're not, like, I'm not for you.
Which is like the be more, give more, be more.
Yeah.
What's behind the give more, be more?
Yeah, I was, my first year retiring, I got hooked up with Isogenics, a supplement company, and they flew me out to Arizona. I don't remember which city it was, to go to like a conference. And they made me an athlete and all this stuff. And the conference was like 3 days. It was an awesome conference. It was like something out of like a movie, though. And I was worried that it was going to be weird, but I actually like had this epiphany and like unbelievable like weekend there, where it was like 300 people in this huge conference room and everybody screaming and like, you know, like oh yeah, stand up, and like stuff like that. And it was like kind of culty, but in a good way, not a bad way, because everyone in there truly wanted to help other people be healthier. Like, they really did. Even though it's a company that's trying to make money, selling supplements, whatever, everyone that I met, hundreds of people, all really cared about their own fitness and helping other people live better lives through fitness. And that was very empowering, and it was very exciting, a ton of energy. And my flight got canceled for 2 days coming back to St. Louis. So I was like the last person in town from this like 3,000 person conference. And so didn't have a car out there. So I'm just like walking around downtown, going to gyms and doing whatever for the 2 days. And it's like, this is straight out of a movie. I came to this like business park because I'm walking around downtown. I don't think it was Scottsdale. It was one of the big cities there. And I came to this like business park that was like beautiful, all these glass buildings. And in the middle was like those ponds with like waterfalls and little bridges. And I'm just like sitting there, you know, like just like thinking about my life. I just retired a few months ago. I think this conference was in like December, if I remember correctly. So this is like 3 months into the first season of me not playing. I was just kind of like, you know, I obviously like have a good training business, like it's going well, but like, where do I want to take it? What do I want to do with my life? After seeing all these people who are super successful in the health and wellness space, like, where do I want to go with it? And I don't know, like, I just came to like thinking about like, I need to give more. I need to give more to my family. I need to give more to my relationships. I need to give more of myself to training. I need to give more to like what I'm doing. Like, what I'm doing is not enough. And I don't know how I was sitting there. I was like, well, if I give more, like, I'll also be more. And I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool saying. I literally Googled tattoo shops. I walked to a tattoo shop. I got give more, be more tattooed.
Right there and then.
Right there. Literally, I walked 2 miles, got it tattooed on me. And like a month later, or like a couple weeks later, this clothing company reached out to me who had been following me on Twitter or Instagram. They listened to my podcast. I don't even remember. They're like, hey, we love that slogan, give more, be more. We'd love to send you some clothes with it on there. And I was like, oh, shit, hell yeah, guys, let's go. And they sent me this like package of like 30 pieces of apparel, like blankets and hats and hoodies and shirts. And I was like, oh, man, this is so cool. And I just started wearing it. And people were like, can I buy that? And I was like, oh, yeah, like, sure, like, I'll talk to them. And then now I have a clothing line. This is, you know, that was 2018. And so it's been 6 years, and now like the clothing line with them and like tons of pieces. It's like, I'm going to change my company name from Ripped Hockey to Give More, Be More, or GMT, Give More Training. Going to have like a line, GMBM's a line, GMT will be my training company, and just all these different things. But basically what it comes down to is like, the more you give, like, not only are you going to be helping other people with giving, but also like, goes along, same thing with yourself. If you give more to your training, if I give more intention, if I give more energy, if I give more time, if I give more everything into training, I'm going to be better off from that. You know, and it's the same thing with people. If I give more of my energy and time to people, I believe that it'll come back to you, like karma. I've always been into karma and stuff like that. So I I don't know, it's just like how I try to live my life.
I was gonna say, what in your experience, like with playing pro hockey, what brought this awareness? How do you know that if you give more, you can become more? Like,
well, so with hockey, obviously, like I had to give more to training, to nutrition, to sleep, like I already talked about. And me as a guy who wasn't as skilled as everybody else at the higher levels, I signed 2 NHL deals. I got paid to play hockey for 10 years. Like it obviously worked. And then right when I retired, we started our podcast. And this is when like not everybody had a podcast. Like it was 2018, November of 2018. And the only podcast I'd ever listened to or watched was Joe Rogan every night when I was cooking dinner in Europe. I just watched Joe every night, love him. And I was like, my cousin's like, do you want to do a podcast? And he's very cerebral. I'm very physical, kind of like fire and ice. And we're good friends. And I was like, I didn't know how to podcast, didn't know anything about podcasts other than watching Joe's. And I was like, because I've always looked up to my cousin. He's a month older than me, and he was really good at hockey. And I was just like, fuck yeah, dude, I'll do it with you. No idea what we were doing. Yeah. Neither one of us. We just bought these crappy headset mics, like a gaming mic. They were terrible. We went through like 10 of them before we bought mics like this, which was hilarious. And so we started doing this podcast. And neither one of us are like big names in hockey back then. And we just started doing it, just giving out free info. We did 2 episodes every week. They were like an hour to an hour and a half. We did 2 episodes a week for 2 years. Almost, I don't know if we missed in the first 2 years doing 2 episodes in a week. And we're both busy. And so like us giving away all that free info, we didn't even realize it, but like we started gaining this following. And now like people are asking me to come speak to their team, or, you know, they're trusting me more in the training environment because I'm giving away all this free information. And then, you know, 2 years after that, now we're holding conferences and people are paying us to come to our conference. And now teams pay me to speak to them in person on Zoom. Now people are buying my online training because they listen to podcasts. And I'm able to reflect on all that now, 6 years later, but I look, or 5 years later, whatever it is. But then I didn't even know. I was just giving. And now I can reflect and be like, wow, a lot of things that have come towards me, towards my way, are because I've just given all these things. I used to give away free speeches to teams. I used to do free calls with players online all the time, helping them with their confidence. Now people pay me for those calls, right? So I've just seen that when I give more, like I become a better coach, I become a better person, and down the line, I become more successful because I've given away things.
That's exactly right. People need like that fucking motto right there, because that is exactly right, man. You have to fucking give. You have to give. I think the reason why people don't give probably is because it's kind of painful to give when you don't have, but you have to give when you don't have. How did you get through giving when you don't have? That's an interesting thing.
Mm. Well, I also went through a divorce right after I retired. And so I think just like I had a lot more time on my hands because I went from being married to being single. And I was just like, well, I'm just going to fill my day. Like, why would I not? Like, I just retired. My first career's over. Can never go back to playing professional hockey. I had a lot more time on my hands. I'm just going to do what I did in hockey. I always look back to how did I get successful in hockey? Okay, I grinded. I looked at what everybody else is doing. I did more. I paid more attention to the little things. Everybody's focused on these big things. Well, I'll focus on those, but I'll also dial in the little things, which equal better, bigger things. And so I just like reverse engineered how I was successful in hockey. And I was like, I'll just do that in life. And I listen to Andy Frisella a lot. I'm a first form athlete. I love first form. Their mindset and my mindset is like identical. And it's like invest in yourself, constantly invest in yourself. And on a long enough timeline, you know, I do a lot of speeches, and like something I always talk about is like anything you want that's like a big deal is going to take a long time for it to happen. So it's like, it's hard when you're on step 0 going to step 1 to be like, well, step 100 is so far away. Well, in hockey, I stopped looking at step 100 and I looked at today. Just get better today. Boom. Wake up tomorrow, get better today. Okay, I took another step. And I just know from my hockey career, being a kid from St. Louis, when nobody was making it to college or pro from St. Louis. So like, I know that I was able to get there because I just focused on winning the day. And all of a sudden, a year from now, you look back and it's like, wow, I'm here. And then 2 years, wow, I'm here. 10 years, wow, I'm here. And so I just know that I was able to do that in hockey, and I'll just do it with everything else in my life. I know that it's like delayed gratification. Just do it, get better at it, do it, get better at it, do it, get better at it, rinse, repeat.
And dude, you're right. It's like you have to be. It is like all of it. It's about like having like this mental toughness, this mindset of just like, look, nobody has to believe in me.
Yeah.
Because nobody believes in you. In that route, how many people were just like, yeah, dude, you got this.
Well, I remember all the time. Like, so I got into nutrition when I was 18. I got into training hard when I was 17, like really into training, and it wasn't like that. Like everybody wasn't into it yet in hockey. And I remember people being like, why are you going to the gym on Friday night? Like, well, I'm going to go to the gym before the party because I have to get the gym in. Like, the party is secondary to like, that's not a part of my goals. I don't need to go to the party. I'll show up at the party when I'm done completing what I need to complete because I'm saying that my goals are X. So this is what I need to do to get to X. So I'll show up if I can. Whereas everybody else was like, I'll go to the party. That's one workout, whatever. I carried around a water bottle everywhere I went. When I was a new pro, we would go to the bar, and I might drink once a week when everybody else was drinking 3 times a week, 4 times a week. Some of the guys I was hanging out with, and so, a lot of times I didn't drink. I was not a big drinker. When I say drink, I mean like 1 or 2 beers. They're all getting hammered. I'm drinking like 1 or 2 socials. I had deli meat in my pocket every single time I went to the bars with my friends because I needed to make sure that I didn't miss a window. I didn't miss another protein feeding, right? Like all my buddies were and they loved me. They weren't making fun of me, but like they weren't doing their chirping. But like I remember going to college in my freshman year, and one of my teammates being like, when he was hammered one night, like, "Oh, you're never gonna go pro." And I thought about that shit every day. When I signed my first NHL contract, I called him, "Hey man, remember when you said this at 2 a.m. at Michigan State?" Well, I do. I fucking do, and I thought about it every day, and I've used that as motivation every single day, and I still use that as motivation for like other things. Oh yeah, you don't think I can do this? You don't think I can do this? Dude. Good. Tell me I can't do it.
Right, because it seems like every indication, like it's so interesting. You almost start thinking, dude, man, when every indication or every bit of evidence around you in the current moment is that like you're insane, and all of your friends are like, you're insane, and there you are in the bar with the fucking piece of salami, and you're like, maybe I'm insane. How do you maintain the belief?
I never thought I was insane. Never. Yeah. Because what I've learned is like, if I don't do everything I can, I will look back and regret not doing everything I can. A really big mindset switch was for me. I had a really, really good coach in junior hockey from 17 to 20 years old. He was intense as fuck. He was really, really intense, probably too intense for kids that age. I was fighting in practice all the time. Like that's what we had to do. Like it was intense.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I had more fights in practice in those 3 years than I had my the whole career combined. But that's just how it was on that team. It was really, really intense. And he always told us, boys, the only thing that I want to impress upon you is you don't want to be the guy at 35 years old sitting on a bar stool, drowning in his sorrow, saying, I wish I would have done blank. I wish I would have gotten to the rink earlier. I wish I would have done more of this. I wish I would have worked out harder. I wish I would have slept better. I wish. He's like, the fucking bar is full of those guys. If you don't want to be one of those guys, do everything you can. And I literally took that to heart, and I thought about it all the time. So whenever I do things, it's not even necessarily, if I do these, I will be successful. It's, if I don't do these, I'll regret it the rest of my fucking life. Yeah. And I never want to look back and be like, why didn't I just do blank? Why didn't I? So it's like, I'll fucking do everything I can. I say yes to every single podcast I've ever been asked on. I've been on hundreds of podcasts besides mine. Like, especially during COVID, I did so many podcasts. And everybody's asking me to come on because I started my online training and was going on all these big podcasts of NHL people and stuff like that. Like, anybody asks me to come speak, like, I will come and speak. Like, I say yes to fucking everything because I don't want to look back and be like, why didn't I do that? That was a chance for me to get better. That was a chance for me to meet somebody new or just anything, So it's not necessarily like, if I don't, like, I'm doing this because it will get me here. It's like, I'm going to do everything I fucking can because I know that that's going to get me better and get me somewhere further along in the journey. And I also am able to look back at my hockey career and be like, yeah, my goal was to play in the NHL for 10 years and make $20 million. Didn't happen. I played 7 games in the NHL preseason. I had 2 goals, assist, a fight. I hit a guy through the glass and I was +1. I had great numbers. I just had so many concussions. And I had to kind of change the way I played because of the concussions. I wasn't wasn't able to fight. Not that I was a fighter, but I would have fought 5 to 10 times a year probably. And I wasn't able to drive the net the same way because if I had one more bad one, my career was over and I'd probably be, sitting in a padded room or something,
So it's like fighting a real, like it just, not to like interrupt, but like fighting a real, is that like, hey, we got a guy, he's our fighter guy?
Well, yeah, there was when I played, but I was not that guy. But the way that I played, I would have had to fight between probably 5 and 10 times a year.
It's sort of a part of the culture.
Yeah, it's part of the game. Like if you run over like a skill guy, or, like I always ran over goalies. Like I would just take the puck hard to the net and like run the goalie over, which is a penalty, but like I would do it in a way where sometimes I got penalties, sometimes I didn't. But when you play pro, you play juniors, college, pro, and you do that, like somebody is probably going to come and fight you. And so
I kind of love that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I think it shouldn't be allowed for any level below pro, though, honestly.
Yeah.
Just with my knowledge of concussions, even though most concussions in hockey don't happen in fights, they actually just happen during the game, not during the fights. People think that it happens during the fight. It's not very often it happens during fights. But it just doesn't make sense for me to have people who aren't adults yet fighting. It should still be like allowed, but it should be like a 5-game suspension, so there are less below pro. Once you're a pro, you're an adult, you can make your own decisions. It's America. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, 100%, dude. Like I always think like to get into the octagon and actually fight like that. Can you imagine that? Like that's fucking insane.
Why?
That's like some of the. That's probably some of the most like illegal shit you can do.
It's. I mean, you gotta be a
You ever go to like the fights at the Shamrock and like you walk into that, the Shamrock fights at the wherever the hell it is over there. You go in there, it's in a ballroom. You kind of feel like this is an illegal operation.
What was it called? Prohibition. It's like a prohibition event, but it's fighting.
Yeah, it's like underground, and they're just throwing people in there with their hands wrapped. It's insane. I love it.
That's intense, man. Respect to them for doing it.
But like when you're a kid, though, I mean, dude, like when your brain is developing, the worst thing you can do is fuck your head up.
Yeah,
dude. Yeah. But like with this concussion, though, these concussions that took you out, you have learned so much. You've created this crazy, like, unbeatable mindset. If you could go back in time, would you take those concussions away?
That's a tough question. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, honestly, because I had the same mindset before I had my bad concussion. I had 14 concussions in my career. So by the time I had my bad one, so I signed in the NHL after my junior season at Western Michigan. I left early, signed in the NHL with the Bruins. That summer, I fell on the boards going full speed here back in St. Louis, and I missed. I didn't play a game from the year before all the way. I missed the whole next year, all the way until the next season. So I didn't play a game for like 14 or 15 months. Thought I was never going to play again. But I had concussions before that also. But this one lasted a year and a half of missing game time. Mm-hmm. Whereas once before that, it was like a week, 2 weeks. Nothing like crazy. But I already had that mindset. Like I had to adopt that mindset and learn to live that way at 17 because I got to juniors and I wasn't good enough to be there. So I had to it was sink or swim. Like my coach would have cut me if I would have went in there and said, I don't want to play this way or I don't want to do this. He'd have gotten rid of me immediately. The rule was you couldn't trade or cut high school players because I was playing in Nebraska. You have to move there and do all these things, live with a family. So he wasn't allowed to cut me. He would have if he could have. He tried to make me quit, and I didn't. I stuck it out. I did everything I had to stay on the team. I worked my ass. I got injured that year, tore my groin off the bone. That's what got me into training super hard because all I could do was lift for 93 straight days while I was healing my groin. And that's what really got me into training and turned me into a fucking machine from a mindset standpoint, especially back then compared to everyone else who's between 17 and 20 years old. And that's what allowed me the next year to have a way better year, get a scholarship, be the captain as a sophomore at a D1 school, and then sign in the NHL. So I already had that mindset, but I would take away the concussions because it would have changed my career. That's why. But, I still had the same mindset. I would still, I can't say I'd be doing the same thing if I was still playing hockey or if I, had made 20 sheets or 15 sheets or 10 sheets in the NHL. Who knows? But I'm sure I would still be mentoring and working with young players because that is something I've always enjoyed doing.
I was going to say, what do you think would be the outcome?
I probably just would have been able to build a nicer gym sooner when I retired because what you said about your gym and how you built this is fucking awesome. Because when I was playing, I started my training company after my third year pro. every summer I'd come home, myself and some pro guys would train with me from like 6 to 9, 6:30 to 9:30 a.m. I'd have breakfast, and then I would go train guys for however long I had to the rest of the day. Some days it might be like 10 straight hours. Like, it was crazy. That does not allow a lot of recovery time for myself while I'm a current pro athlete, but I knew that I was building for something after, and the mental toughness from my career allowed me to do those hard and long days. But I would train guys out of different CrossFit gyms. I'd come home, I'd find a better gym every year, and go in and say, hey, I've got this many guys, I'll give you this much money per month, let me have access to the gym 24 hours a day, and had great partnerships, and everybody said yes. But then it was in 2019, I feel like I got into the gym that I have now, which is in the Maryville University Hockey Center, and my business partner put down the turf, 4 pull-up bars, and we had like 4 med balls, and that was it. So I started, I bought 4 sets of power blocks. Actually, I bought a full set of dumbbells, and then I was like, well, if I'm going to train like multiple people, like I only have one of each, this isn't going to work. So I sold him my dumbbells, took that money, bought 4 power blocks. So then I had 4 pull-up bars, 4 power blocks, and 4 med balls. And like, I just made it work. And I was only training like 5 or 6 guys at a time, or 8 guys at a time. And every month I'd make more money. I'd right into more equipment, to where now, I've got, I don't know, probably 150 to 200 grand in my gym of equipment. And it was a slow build. And what you talked about at the beginning of the podcast, I don't even know if you hit record yet, you were talking about how you did this and you made the training work with what you had. And like, that's what I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, you can train in so many different ways and you can still get results. There's no fucking excuses. You find a fucking way. I wanted Kaisers in my gym, didn't have the money. So I just drilled holes into the wall all over the gym. Like, I've got holes all over the gym with these, like, I don't even know what they are, like a little like loop thing that's screwed into the gym, into the wall, and then a carabiner. And then I attached like 5 different strength bands. So now we could do all this band work because I couldn't afford a Kaiser.
Yeah, sure.
And that, okay, well, now that's really working. Okay, so now that increases the more guys I can work with. Now I got more power blocks. Now I've got 14 sets of power blocks. I've got, 8 sleds. Like, I've got all of this freaking equipment, so much equipment, but like, didn't have that when I started, and I still got guys results. So there's no fucking excuses. You find a fucking way.
Dude, 100%. That's what winning, man. Winning. That's fucking winning. Yeah. You have to be able to go into a situation that's fucking impossible and say, fuck it. Fuck your facts. I'm going to make it happen, dude. Like, that is it. When you get into a situation, like, not even when you get into a situation, people wait until they're ready. And that never happens. Never get stuck in the trap of tomorrow. People always think that, like, when I'm ready, every time I say, like, why don't you do this thing? They're like, well, because, like, once I get done with that and I'm just, like, stuck in the trap of tomorrow, you have to, if you have to, force yourself to do something where you take the jump. You know what I mean? Like, that is what fucking winning requires, because, like, it's not important that you don't fail. Actually, it's important that you do fail, and that it's like trying to, like, build a mindset around, or at least the ability to fucking build yourself back up after the fail. It's like more important to be like, how can I survive this storm? Not like, how can I get away from the storm,
People say all the time, like, fail forward. All the people who are saying that are all the most successful people I know. Like, failure is not final. It's not even failure. It's just you're learning a better way, because you're immediately going to find a better, smarter, more efficient, more effective way to do whatever it was you're doing. If you can lose that ego, like I said, like, I used to do all my speeches for free all the time. And were they as good as I am at speaking now? Absolutely not, which is why I didn't charge people, but I still went and did them. And some of them were great, some of them were okay, whatever, but I would take notes, I would think about, same with the podcast. I listened to the first 100 episodes of our podcast all the way through, every single episode, and would take notes. So when Toph is talking, my podcast partner, no matter what, I can't talk, because from the listener's standpoint, we're talking at the same time, all they hear is, so like, if he makes a joke, I can't laugh if he's still talking. I got to wait until he stops talking to laugh. Like, little details like that, where I didn't know when I first started podcasting, but because I listened to it, I could be way better here. I can't talk over him, because then they hear nothing, and now they lose a valuable point or whatever, you know what I mean? And it goes for all things in life. Just Nike, just fucking do it.
Yeah.
You're gonna get better.
You make yourself so good when you don't have like equipment like this. Like if me and you are talking right now, what's great about these Shure mics is one, this place is terrible to do podcasting because you can hear the echo. None of that will show up because of these mics or like the shit that we use to edit it. And the same thing, like if I say something over your talking, we can just totally like that mic is not picking shit up on this side, so we'll just cut that out, right? So like, but when I started, I was like this is probably a little over 100 recorded conversations. This will be like 70 something, almost 80 podcast official. But like, so I'm only at 100 and I edit all the fucking shit. I edit all of it so that I'm like, I touch every single piece of it. So I know in the future, also, I can't afford all of that right now. So I just do it all. I put it into the hustle. Long story short though, like, you got to do it with the thing where you got to go hard all around, make all of the like unbelievable detailed changes, you know, so that like when you have something like this one, like now you can just, if it does happen, all right, good to go. But like you have this fucking refined skill. And that, dude, that is winning almost requires you to be fucking a little insane. You know, so let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about winning. I have this bit right here. So I was sure that you knew something about Tim Grover. He's got 13 laws to winning. He's got a book called Winning. It's dope. I want to know your definition of winning, but first I'm going to say all 13 of these for everybody. He doesn't put them in order of any importance. He says number one, and then he says number one. He doesn't say number two, number three, because there's no order. They're all as important. So I'm going to run through these, and then let's talk about winning, because winning is fucking insane. It is just insane. So here's Tim Grover's 13 Laws of Winning. Winning makes you different, and different scares people. Winning wages war in the battlefield in your mind. Winning is the ultimate gamble on yourself. Winning isn't heartless, but you will use your heart less. Winning belongs to them, and it's your job to take it. Winning wants all of you. There is no balance. Winning is selfish. Winning takes you through hell, and if you quit, hell is where you stay. Winning is a test with no correct answers. Winning knows all your secrets. Winning never lies. Winning is not a marathon. It's a sprint with no finish line. Winning is everything.
Love those, man.
What is your definition of winning?
Well, I think it's like, it's subjective.
Right.
I mean, it's
right.
not, but it is. It's like, because it's like, well, what does winning to each person mean? You know, like, what are you trying to win at? So there has to be more context. Like, well, winning in hockey, you got to fucking score more than the other team. You know, winning in life, for me, a lot of people like, that's like success. Like, how do you define success? Well, yeah, it'd be cool to make fucking $10 million. But if I'm happy, you know, making $2 million, you know, and that jump to go from 2 million to 10 million means I have to sacrifice more family time or anything like that. Like, is that important to me? So like maybe winning to somebody is making less money, but having more freedom and more time with your family. But to somebody else, winning might be making all that money and not caring about the sacrifices that come along with that. So I would say like winning in terms of life is probably a little bit more subjective. Obviously winning in fucking sports is like you either win or you don't. You know, there's moral victories, but it's not winning. It's a victory, but it's not a win.
No, dude, absolutely no doubt. Actually, I was just having a conversation with Izzy about this before you were coming in. We were just kind of talking about like, look, here's the thing, man. I like putting way too much on my plate because that pressure makes me be able to do way more than everyone else. Because I learn how to be with all the pressure. I can't do it all. So with all that pressure, I keep the mindset of if I can't do it all, that will force me to create ways of making it happen. Yeah. As opposed to if I'm doing the right amount that I'm comfortable with, there's no reason for me to become more effective. And that is the essence of what the fuck I am.
Well, that's like Ed Milet. He says if you're looking at your calendar and there's empty spaces, like what are you doing? Fucking fill it. And I'm the exact same way. Like. I'll drive my wife fucking nuts. I need to be better about this. I need to find a way for her to just like see my calendar every second of the day and get an update when I change it. Because like I woke up like 2 days ago. I was like, oh yeah, Friday's like pretty open for me. I don't think I got anything. And then all of a sudden I'm like, well, actually I've got pop. She's like, okay, I hate you.
Yeah, right. Dude, how do you
He's like, oh, something's open? Well, I'll go take this meeting. I'll go do this. I'll go do that. Yeah, Saturday, I don't have anything, but I'll leave here and I'll have 4 people hit me up for things on Saturday. And I'll be like, well, I got nothing Saturday. I got to fucking do this. And then from here to here. Like, that's just, I'm literally the exact same way.
Dude, how do you manage that? Because that's like,
how is it? You can't manage it. It's part of it is the it's not easy. You know, I definitely need to be better with scheduling. And I will say this, I'm 38 years old now. I've put out a lot of energy since I was like, I don't know, 16 years old. A lot of energy. I'm an energy person. Every single day I put out as much energy as I can. I give as much to whoever's in front of me as I possibly can. As I'm getting older, you know, there are times where like I will like take a break or take a pause or like I'm able to be like, this next week I know that I have to do all these things. And then I also know in my head that I'll also sprinkle in some other things where somebody's like, can you do this call? Can you do this speech? Can you do this? Whatever. Can you take this team on? So like I'll look at like what I have coming up sometimes, and I have started to be able to say no to just a couple things. And that's something that's also, I've been afforded that ability to do that because I've kind of created a couple different verticals that are bringing money in. So not that I look at I look at impact over money. When I make more of an impact, I make more money, right? I don't do things to make money. I do things to make impact. Money comes with impact, I found. But
for sure,
I have been able to say no to a couple of things when I absolutely have to. Whereas in the past, I would have gone and done that thing where like I know that my energy, like I'm very intuitive with my body now. And like I know when I'm pushing it, and it's like if I go and do that, I will get sick. And if I get sick, I might have to cancel a whole day, you know? So it's like, or I'll show up and I won't be as good as I could be, and that's unacceptable to me. So it's like I protect my energy a little bit more now than I used to because I'm able to. When I wasn't able to, no matter what, I would have made it fucking work. No matter what, you know? But that would have been a detriment to maybe some other things in the next day or week. And now I'm like, well, this thing I can move to a different time. Not like canceling it, but just be like, hey, you know, I said I could do this. Let's move it to here. And people understand that I'm busy now, luckily, you know, because anybody who wants me to do stuff probably sees me on social media and they see how much I do every day. So that's also something that's like nice, is that people kind of understand that I do a lot.
Yeah, dude, you come in like a fucking fireball. I love that shit, dude. You're like, you kick the fucking door down, dude. Let's fucking podcast. I'm like, let's go. I was like, dude, I didn't know. I would do, like I said, 100 recorded podcasts. Is like the first dude who comes in like that. I'm like, let's fucking go. This is my fucking man, dude. This is my man. Buddy. So like, fuck yeah, dude. No, I feel that. And like, dude, if you can't do, I totally feel that. If you can't do that, if you can't come in with enthusiasm, then that's the thing that will that will take away from all the stuff you're doing. I'm right there with you. Yes, man. Yes, man. I want to do it all. Matt Vincent, this is Matt Vincent's bit. Just because I recently had a podcast with him, I did a lot of research on him, so now this quote pops up in my head. But he said, it's either a fuck yeah or a no. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I like that. But I would also say when I was younger, I'm not saying that I'm successful now, but when I was less successful, or I had less demand, let's say, less of a demand on people wanting to work with me in all the different ways, is that it was always a yes.
Yeah.
I think, and I was talking to my wife about this when I walked with her this morning a few hours ago, about now I can say no to some things where it's like, if it's not like a fuck yes, I can say no. But before, probably like this didn't start for probably it's 2024, probably like 2022 and before, maybe even last year, maybe 2023 and before, it was always yes. It's always yes. Because I'll find a way for it to be a yes. No matter what, I will find a fucking way for it to be a yes. And I'll kill myself and find a way to rally tomorrow and the next day and the next day. I'll find a way. But now that I don't have to do that, I can show up better for everything that I show up for.
Dude, I agree with you 100%, and this is why I think that there's seasons. Like, when you're fucking 20 years old, if it's a no, you're a dumb shit. Like, you don't know what you like, what you don't like. I mean, you really don't. There's way too many blind spots when you're younger, so you've really got to find a way to say yes. If you're saying no when you're younger, like, you're really hurting yourself.
And also, like, when I went through the divorce, I watched Yes Man. You ever see that movie, Jim Carrey?
Yeah, I did. I do love Jim Carrey.
I tell people this all the time, and I watched it before that, but after I went through going through the divorce, I watched Yes Man. I watched it all the time. And I tell everybody to watch that movie. I literally said yes to almost everything for like 2 years. And that was another part of like the GMBM, Give More, Be More journey, is because I said yes, even to things I didn't want to do. But I was like, if I'm going to say yes, I'm going to go there and I'm going to give them my all, whatever it is. I don't want to be here. I don't want to work with this group, or I don't want to speak to this group, whatever it is. I don't want to drive 2 hours to go work with this team for, what I could make if I'm sitting on my couch. But like, I fucking said yes. Every single time I've said yes to anything I don't want to do, something bigger has come from it too, which is wild. A connection, a job, a new friend, like something has come from almost every single time I've said yes to something I don't want to do.
It's so fucking, dude. It's like, it's so true. And here's the thing too, with like what the thought that like you should only do the things that you like and say no to the things that you're not sure of or that you're not interested in. Here's the thing. There was a psychology class that I took when I was in college. It was like, you need 10 exposures to something before like you really know you like it or dislike it. Like this is just like how it works with like long-term memory. So if you're uncertain with something, you're in an environment, it will take you a few goes before like you can be certain whether or not you like it. So if right now you just haven't tried something and you're like, I don't like that, like you have no idea whether you like it or not. And so what is interesting is like, think about it like this. This is a way that I can paint this picture for everybody. You ever heard somebody say, dude, you gotta watch the first season. You just gotta make it through the first season. It's like, yeah, you just gotta pound this thing into your brain until like, you know whether or not you like it to keep moving forward.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? That you've heard that from so many people.
Analogy.
And I think that that's like basically the same thing with everything. And you're cutting off like possible experiences with life because like you're not that I don't like ketchup or something. You just built a weird fucking thing around I don't like ketchup, but not everything has ketchup. You can't even touch it. What are you doing? You're missing out on the food.
Right. Yeah.
So anyway,
you're not investing that time. Like totally.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. That's so interesting, and I feel like it really is a matter of being a fucking killer. Oh shit, I got a couple more questions for you. I'm sorry, dude. You gotta shoot out here. What time you gotta get out of here?
What time is it?
It's fucking 2:25.
No, I'm good.
You got a couple more questions? All right, dude. I appreciate. Thank you, man. You're the best, dude. This has been such a good time.
Yeah.
All right, dude. So you said this, and I kind of want to know a little bit more about this mindset, and then the last question here, dude. So, like, this is you. Confidence is not given; it's earned. What does that mean?
No one can give you confidence. You can't. Doesn't matter how rich you are. You can't buy confidence. You can't sell confidence. You literally have to put in work, sweat, blood, tears to earn confidence. Like confidence is something that you have to do things, probably things you don't want to do, or at least things over and over and over, so that you know that you can do them. So you build the belief in yourself because you've done them over and over and over, and went from a 0 to a 2 or a 2 to a 10 or whatever it means. And it's like you can't go to a store. Can't go to a store and buy confidence. You can't. I don't care how much money you have. You can't fucking do anything other than putting in work to earn your own confidence. And it's so many people don't understand that. You know, and it's like, and I find the gym to be the greatest builder of inner self-confidence because it's so easy to see the numbers go up. I could do 1 push-up on week 1. I could do 4 on week 3. I dumbbell bench pressed 45 by 10 week 1. I dumbbell bench pressed 65 by 10 on week 4. Like it's very easy. I could do 1 pull-up. Now I can do 6 pull-ups. Like it's so concrete. The evidence is there that you have gotten better. And like if you work with anybody who knows what they're fucking doing, or even yourself, and you just try, you're gonna get better. And it's so tangible. So like, and the gym is such a great builder of confidence because of that. You also like look better, you have more energy, your brain works cleaner, everything just fires on better cylinders. So it's like, there's so many reasons that the gym, I think, is the best builder of confidence. The big reason of that is like the numbers are so easy to see right there. And they go pretty quick, especially if you're out of shape. Like your numbers go up pretty quickly.
Dude, how does one, I agree tenfold. How does one, without experience first, like let's say zero confidence, zero gym yet, how do they overcome the barrier to get into the gym to start building confidence?
Great question. Sign up for my online training or buy my prep phase because I have everybody do the prep phase. But in all seriousness, in today's world, you've got Instagram, YouTube, Google, DuckDuckGo. I use DuckDuckGo, not Google. Fuck them. Twitter. I'm sure there's people on TikTok who know what they're talking about and put out. There's so much free information. To say that like I can't or I don't know where to start, to me, yeah, you will have to validate who you're listening to make sure they know what they're talking about. But there's more free information out there today than ever has been in the history of humankind. So like you can get programs for free. You can learn from people who you believe know what they're talking about. And I would say start at home. If you're not comfortable going to a public place or working with some, start at fucking home. Like something is better than nothing. One push-up today is better than 0 push-ups. Okay, if you did one today, try and do 1 push-up, 1 squat tomorrow. Okay, 1 push-up, 1 squat, 1 lateral lunge the next day. Like start at home, earn some of that self-confidence. And then if you think about it this way, our bodies we got to live in these things until the day we fucking expire. If this thing works better, my brain functions better, I'm happier, I'm healthier, I have more energy to do the things I want. I'm able to go on a walk with my family or play with my kids or, help my mom if she falls down or play better at sports. Like your body is the way that we fucking do things, and your body affects your brain affects your body. Invest in your fucking health. Because if you don't, you're going to pay for bad health down the road. So it's either invest up front or pay more down the road and die early or fucking pay a bunch of medicine or have to go through painful surgeries and all these fucking things. Whereas if you just start doing it and invest time and energy and a little bit of money now, you're going to live a better life. You're going to have more fun in your life. You're going to feel better, all these positive things, and you're not going to have to pay for it on the back end.
God damn it, Jeff. Dude, I want to fucking do a 3-hour podcast with you, man. Fuck. Because I would have just put down because I was fucking 100% agree, man. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That's 100%. Dude, look, there's no such reality as having something for nothing. Okay? You have to pay the fucking price.
Have to.
You're
One way or another.
You're going to pay it, and there's pain. Pain is a part of living. Suffering is a part of living. You are going to suffer. Choose your suffering.
Yep.
Choose your suffering.
Choose it hard, baby.
Like you could choose, because you're gonna have it. If you don't have it now, you're having it in the hospital with all the bills.
Right.
And if you think it's like, well, training is too expensive, wait until you get this is Tim Grover, wait till you get the fucking bill from the hospital for all those fucking health issues that you have now because you thought you were saving money, not fucking investing in your health and your body and your mind. God damn.
Invest in your health and your body and your mind, your life is better.
It's just,
you can do more, you can do better, you can do like just your productivity and work, like literally everything will be better. And we've got like a health crisis in the US and a mental health crisis, and the best way to have better mental health is to have better physical health.
100%.
Like when you exercise, especially vigorous exercise, your brain releases positive chemicals. When you sit around all day, you don't get those fucking chemicals. Go fucking do some exercising. Go play a sport. Go find, and I don't care if it's lifting weights, running, wrestling, weekend sports. I don't care what it is. You have to find something physical that you enjoy. That is your job as a human being, to find something that you enjoy physical so that you can enjoy the benefits of exercise. It's not a one size fits all. You don't have to do this or that or this. You can do a combination. You can just do one thing that you fucking love, but do something. Something.
100%. And there's this study out of Stanford that kind of it illustrates your point exactly. It's something like this, and I don't remember the metrics or any of that. So or the links. So I might be just complete fucking lying to you guys. But here's what it is. Basically, what they find is that exercise on a regular basis, just the minimum, 30 minutes a day, not even vigorous exercise, just get your heart rate up past 55% of your heart rate max. For all of you who don't know what that means, basically you're just doing like a brisk walk for 30 minutes.
Speed walking.
Just doing it with the fucking, absolutely. And that will be massive to your health if you do it on a daily basis. That, in terms of mental health, is found to be about 2.5 times better than any conventional talk therapy. So in my mind, it's like, dude, go get your fucking therapy, man. For sure.
Like, I don't love group exercise classes for the standpoint that a lot of people don't know form and like, and even more so than the form thing is that they probably haven't done the initial prep work to be able to do the things that are done in a lot of group classes, like an Orange Theory or things like that, or CrossFit class or anything like that. Like they haven't done the base of the pyramid to have the ability to do the things they're doing in that class, and they're doing them repetitively, and that's how you get injured in those things. Not scaring anybody away from them, but the group classes, you're getting like social interaction, you're getting like people pushing each other. All of that stuff is fucking amazing. So like go to whatever your current level is, Going to a group class will be so good for your mental health is what I'm getting at, because of not only the physical aspect, but also the social interaction and people there who, if you're going to a class that is at your level, you're not going to be intimidated because of the other people who are looking for the same level of intensity that you are. You're going to make friendships and everybody's pushing everybody. And it's always a positive environment in gyms. It's like the most positive people fucking around.
Yeah, dude. It's interesting because there's this thought that like gyms are places where people will like kind of like make fun of you for coming in if you're not in shape. And I think that's completely wrong. I've never seen that. The gym and fitness industry, fitness like community is like, dude, if you're there, like, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. You don't have to be able to squat 1,000 pounds. And you don't need to be able to run a marathon. Dude. Right. You can come in here and do body squats. Let's fucking go. Yeah. And to your point, like community is massive. I mean, it is probably the most powerful way that you can right now just start improving your fitness. You don't know anything? Find a community, insert yourself in the fitness industry.
Think about what happened during 2020, during Voldemort 19. I can't say the word. Like everybody got depressed because there was no community, there was no interaction, there was no physical contact, there was no shaking hands, no hugging, no face to face, no talking, no anything. That's why everybody was so fucking depressed. Like gyms are where you get all of that. I mean, I didn't stop the whole fucking time. My gym was fucking open no matter what they said. And I went across the river to like Club Fitness that was open and never fucking shut down, and everybody was so fucking happy in there because everybody had that, whereas everybody else outside of that wasn't allowed to have that, you know? And it is so fucking important to be around like-minded individuals.
Dude, fucking Voldemort 19.
That's what I was called on Instagram because I get stopped all the fucking
Do you really with that?
Bro.
Do you really?
I get my traffic gets slowed down.
That's so... Yes. Is that not insane? Is that not a little insane? Like,
I thought we lived in America.
Dude, okay, all right. So I was kind of talking about this before, and I asked Matt this too, just because he's the last podcast that I did. Dude, like right now, I think most people would probably agree that it's very difficult to be a successful business without having some kind of social media. Do you think you could be successful as a business without? Absolutely.
Well, I wouldn't be as successful as I am. I wouldn't have an online business that does as well as it does. I wouldn't have a podcast that does as well as it does. I wouldn't have all the people on my waiting list if I didn't show and prove through social media by just showing who I'm working with, what we're doing, all the results that obviously all my guys are getting from training with me. If I wasn't able to show that, like I look at social media as free marketing. I mean, I pay somebody to film me, so like it's not free anymore, but you can do it with your phone, and that's fucking free. So like you used to have to pay to get in front of people by either paying for radio ads or TV ads. Nobody listens to radio, nobody fucking watches TV. Social media, I did for free for 4 years before I started paying to have somebody come in and film me coaching or whatever it is. So like you can do it for free, and I just look at it as like, why are you not fucking doing it?
Dude,
why are you not doing it?
There's absolutely there is not an argument that a single person has come back with me like that is at a worth its weight in salt, I guess, that you can be successful without social media. That's preposterous. You can't be. You'll get buried under everybody who's using it. You're crazy. You can't get even remotely the reach of the target. So that's clear. So this is what's true then, because if that's true, then this also has to be true. There is a digital fiefdom where like we basically pay the lords of the realm, which is like Instagram, Facebook, all that, with our attention, with our effort, with our information, everything like that. Dude, what do you think about that? Do you that fuck with you at all a little bit, like moving forward?
Like, I mean, I think it's a fucking joke. I think it's anti-American. Like, yes, businesses have the right to run their business however they want, and I completely agree with that. Right to refuse service, all that stuff, like whatever. I don't care. Like, it's your business. Like, I don't think anybody should tell anybody how to run their business. This is fucking America. We are free, or mostly free. Now. We used to be completely free.
That was the idea.
You know, I mean, we used to be completely free. Now we're mostly free, and I don't like the trajectory we're going down where they're taking away fucking freedoms. Like, we have a constitution for a reason. I've lived in 7 different countries on 3 or 4 different continents. I saw the difference. I used to think, oh, like Scandinavia is just as good as America, or this place is just, no, bro, no. You do not have the same ability for upward mobility in any other country in the world. It is not, it's not a thing. It's not the fucking same. You don't have the same freedoms anywhere else. So like, I am a very staunch supporter, and COVID, Voldemort 19, opened my eyes to a lot of these things that like now I'm like, dude, what the fuck? So I do understand Instagram is allowed to do whatever they want, but also I think it's fucked up, especially when, you know, I don't want to get into the COVID shit, but like, bro, like, I knew 3 months in after reading the studies that they were lying about the studies. Like it was out there. I literally went page by page because I'm not going to take something that just came out. It's only been around for 3 months. I bought a traditional sauna because it's been around. People have been using them for 1,000 years. I bought that over an infrared sauna because people have only had infrared saunas in their house for maybe 15 years.
Yeah.
To me, there's not enough data there for me to go, oh, I trust this science because there's long-term data behind what are people's lives like, how are they living with daily infrared saunas. It's only been around 10 to 15 years. Traditional sauna's been around forever. Okay, so I went with that because I know that we have tons of decades and hundreds of years of studies of people using saunas that were healthy. It didn't affect them negatively. So like with the COVID stuff, it was just like, whoa, like you're trying to force this? Like we don't know. I don't care what you say about the technology or anything. It's only been around for a week. Yeah. You can't make me take something that's been around for a fucking week. And I look at the same thing with everything with the freedoms. It's like, yeah, you can run your business that way. I wouldn't be on your fucking platform if somebody else came out with something that was just as good. As soon as somebody comes out with something that's just as good as Instagram, I will switch and I will go to that platform because they aren't censoring and shit like that. Because I got censored all during Voldemort 19 for literally telling the truth.
Dude, that's so truth. Yeah, dude, that's what I mean. Because you like live with it. It's the Lords of the Realm. You just you pay your fucking tax and they tell you how to do it. I mean, this is the weird thing. There's a book called The Sovereign. You know who Naval Ravikant is? Have you heard of that guy? Doesn't matter. This dude's kind of like this, kind of like a thought leader / entrepreneur. Kind of like he's been on Rogan. I watched that Rogan podcast if you like Rogan. It's an older one, but in any case, like Ravikant was doing basically just a speech, and he said, "Hey, you guys got to read this book." And it's called The Sovereign Individual, and it talks about what you're talking about right now. Basically, it talks about how civilization has been run. The whole idea is that civilization has been run based on like imposing violence. And like, for example, you are super free until you stop paying for your house. And then they'll show up with a gun and they'll say, you either pay or we're going to bring you to the fucking prison where a lot of violence ensues. Someone's showing up with a gun if you don't do the things that they're telling you to do. That's the case. That's how society has always run. But the idea is you'll put up with that so that you have freedoms. Or no, not freedom, sorry, protection. You're like the customer to the government. The government is the protection. We pay the taxes. We get the protection. Good to go. Like law enforcement and whatnot. So that way you don't have to have like a sawed-off shotgun and like under your desk. So that whatever, you can like call the police and shit. You kind of like having that so that you pay your taxes for that reason. In any case, the Sovereign Individual talks about how microcomputing is going to completely change that because you can take all your assets and you can hold them online. All of your assets, intellectual property, all of your money. I mean, you don't need to rely on centralized banking. So centralized bank and centralized government are under attack by microcomputing, giving the individual a sovereign ability to like protect themselves. This is like a massive problem for people, the cabal, let's say. Let's be fucking, let's say the cabal. So like every single way, there is a war being waged right now in the digital space. Mm-hmm. It is happening. And what's interesting is they predicted in that book. I read that book through 3 times. It's a fucking boring ass book. You're going to hate it. You should still read it. Yeah. And because like it's saying exactly what would happen. It's almost exactly right. Read that book, pay attention to that book. And look, this is the case. This is the most scary part about this whole thing. Not scared because I love this shit. I hope it all happens. I'm like, let's go. I like this shit. Dude, it's just another challenge to overcome for me, like all the way to the end. But dude, like the Apple Vision Pro, you put the Apple Vision Pro on. Dude,
fuck out of here. Dude. I need less technology now. Fucking more.
Dude, listen to this crane. You've seen what that thing can do?
I don't even want people walking down the street with that on. You're going to walk across the street, get hit by a car, you fucking stupid motherfuckers. What are you fucking doing? Live in the fucking real world.
Yeah, dude. Dude, the thing about it is that this is the case, dude. Basically, St. Louis is going to be because if you see it, you can do like 100-foot by like 50-foot like HD screen connected to the building. Now Coca-Cola can advertise for you for not like anywhere near the price that they would. Say you're walking down the street. Advertisers are going to love this. You're going to walk down St. Louis in like overnight. St. Louis with the fucking Apple Vision Pro is going to be like little Vegas. Dude, you're not going to want to miss out on this
fucking miss
dope.
out.
Right. Me,
in the
look, I want to be in the woods. Like I'm gonna be in the woods while everybody's on it. I'm always like last to show up to all these these social media shit and all this. But I'm just like, holy fuck, dude! Imagine the power that they're gonna have if that really takes hold.
Look at the power they have over
They already
everyone
have it.
now with, if you fucking say first one next to your phone when you get first one ads, or you say canoeing and all of a sudden you're getting canoeing videos on your YouTube. Like, what the fucking fuck? That is so fucked up.
Yeah,
like I get it. Like, it's great for advertisers, but like, what the fuck happened to fucking privacy? Like, get the fuck out of here. Dude. Get out of my fucking life. Get out of my life.
It's creepy as fuck. You do like I'll just like I have we have like one of those Alexa things. I can't remember what it's called, but it just basically listens in on all your conversations.
They punted my thing after a month.
You can say it like this. You can say it like, dude, I just like only thing I use it for is the weather. I'll say Alexa, dude. I'll say whatever the fuck. I'll say Alexa, what's the weather? That's all. Or I'll say or something. I'll say something stupid. I just try different ways of asking her what the weather is, and she always knows. And sometimes I'm two rooms over, and I'll say it under my breath, and she'll be like,
yep.
And I'm like, you can hear me from all the way down here?
You're always listening, bro.
I mean, they're just listening to everything we're saying, dictating, sending it up.
Yeah.
But
Terrifying. It's terrifying. Like the ramifications of that if we go down a certain path, and
so
I mean, man, it's fucking, yeah, there's we could go down some fucking
I was just going to say, dude.
People stop listening to this
I
podcast.
love
crazy.
it. No, same.
Dude, it's at a certain point, I get the fucking, like I remember I got like a smart watch when they came out, but then I was like, dude, this fucking thing is tracking everywhere I'm going. It knows everything. It's fucking listening. Fuck this. And like Bluetooth hasn't been out that long. We don't really know.
Yeah.
I mean, now we're starting to hear about the radiation effects of all of these devices.
Yeah.
And okay, well, we definitely know that, sugar companies and all alcohol and cigarette companies paid to have all the studies say that all those things were okay and healthy. We know that. That is a fact. So, like, why do we not think that that's happening with all these new inventions? Also, of course it's fucking happening. Like, of course it is.
Jeff, here's the deal, man. Here's the deal. Like, it's like, how much evil do you need to do a little good? And here's an example. There's a good question that I like to ask people because this is, and then like, just let me know what you think. Dude, when the Model T was introduced by Ford, like commercial car, there wasn't a lot of infrastructure for roads. The amount of deaths that happened from spontaneous combustion of these vehicles, like it was something along the lines of like 200,000 deaths a year for 20 years going, trying to like build the infrastructure and improve the car so it didn't kill people in the numbers that it did. It was insane. People die like crazy now with all the innovation. Imagine you're just running around like hitting 60 miles an hour with like a wooden wheel. Like it's fucking, you're dying more often than not, Any case, long story short, the numbers are 200,000 or so deaths for 20 years for the innovation of the vehicle. Would you go back in time and change that bitch?
Right. Yeah, no, that's
you go back if you could.
No,
it was like Jeff. You want to be the guy who goes back there?
It is a really good question. Obviously, technology does so much good. But it's fun. When we start to try to live inside of the matrix, when we try to live inside of technology, when technology completely takes over your life, we're going to be living in the movie Idiocracy.
Yeah.
We already are. Like, all the stupid people are the ones that keep reproducing first and foremost. And then, like, everybody just wants to sit at home and do nothing and have Amazon drop off their food and their packages and all this shit. Like, the fuck? Now you're not out there communicating with other people. That's going to affect your mental health. You're staying at home all the time. That's going to affect your physical health. Like, there's a certain point where I think people just need to be introspective and go like, okay, this technology, whatever it is that we're talking about, is making my life easier, but is that making my life better?
Yeah.
And that's something that everybody's got to ask themselves and like look in the mirror and be like, okay, when I was younger and we didn't have this, was I happier? Was I healthier? Was I more fulfilled? Or now that everything's fucking easy and I can just do everything here, am I happier, healthier, more fulfilled? Well, maybe I need to like restrict some of this. And I understand that me as somebody who's on social media every day, fucking all the time, that's pot calling the kettle black or fucking whatever, being a little bit hypocritical.
Oh, it's your business.
But it is my business. Yeah, right. But like that is an excuse too. That is a fucking excuse. But I also look at it this way, that there's so much bad on social media and there's so much like shit and garbage and filth and just terribleness. It does nothing to elevate anyone who's looking at these things. I want to be somebody who's combating that by putting out things that are going to help elevate people's lives mentally or physically.
Dude, I 100% agree, man. I mean, that's really, you're not going to, and by the way, I'm all for innovation.
Yeah.
I want innovation. In like, there is cost to innovation and it will be better long term, but there needs to be transparency on the risk.
Right.
If you're just
I'm not asking to stop it. Because then again, now I'll be telling people how to run their lives. Right. I don't want that.
Right.
But real transparency on the thing, the testing, who's doing the testing, who's doing the studies. Like, let's know where the money is being funded from for the studies, studying this thing that you're telling us is going to make our life better. Like let's have actual fucking transparency with everything in our country and in our government and all media.
Yeah.
It's a fucking joke.
Well, the thing that got me fucked up was when the fucking FDA was pushing to get the results of the testing pushed back to being opened up to the public for like 70 years. 75 years. It's like, why are you doing that? Why was that important?
When you look at how
they're gonna fucking
no, but this is the thing that drives me insane is nobody knows this about that stuff. They unblinded the initial trials. They unblinded them. So you literally can't know the results of the trials if you unblinded them, and then you gave most of the people in the placebo group the option. They gave everyone the option to then take Voldemort 19 shot, which completely does not allow you to have any fucking consistent variable. You can't make any fucking data points based off of that type of trial because you unblinded the trial. And then when you look at what they did with the pregnant women who took it, they fucking skewed the data because most miscarriages happen in a certain amount of time in pregnancy. Well, they didn't give most of the women in the study the thing until later when you're not going to have miscarriages. So the way that they were able to manipulate the data through how they gave these tests is not the way that you would do tests if you really wanted to find out the right answers.
Yeah.
And when you fucking learn this stuff, and I mean, like, if you don't know this stuff, like, you got to pull your head out of your ass and fucking think for yourself.
Right. That's the message. That's really the message is that all this stuff is going to happen. It's up to you to be aware of it.
We should have more transparency, but we don't. So you got to put some fucking onus on yourself and like inform yourself.
God damn, dude. Again, like, I feel bad because I know we were. Dude, I love you. You're the fucking man. Dude, you're the fucking man. I'm so happy that I had this podcast. Good shit. All right, dude. So I don't keep you for the rest of the day, dude. But fun. I would do. I actually prefer like 2-3 hour podcasts because you get into shit that's fun. But any case, let's ask you the last questions. I get you back to your day. I know you're a busy dude, man. All right, so this is the last question I ask, and it's just to kind of get what your main message is. So let's say you had the attention of every single human being on the planet. 8 billion motherfuckers listening to you right now. What would your message be to them?
YOLO was used in terms of like high school and college kids for like excuses to party and do stupid things. I use it in a different way. Like, you only live once. Yeah. You only like, if you really stop and you take a couple deep breaths and you think about that, I am only going to be on this earth for a short period of time. And we also don't know, I could walk across the street, get hit and die tomorrow. Like, you don't know how long that period of time is. Live every day doing the things that set your soul on fire and give to others as much as you can, because you will also receive in all different ways that you never could even understand. So if you live every day in a way that is leading you to get towards your goals, is helping others get towards their goals, and you're just not fucking waiting till tomorrow, you're going to live a happier, healthier, and you're going to be more fulfilled. You're just going to have a much better life. So like, fucking do whatever it is you want and chase that and run towards it at 1,000,000 fucking miles an hour, and do everything you can so that when you're on your deathbed, you have no regrets.
Jeff Lovecchio, my dude, thanks for being on the podcast, brother. Where can they find you, my man?
I just send people my website, gmbm.com, or my Instagram's my name, @Jeff Lovecchio. The word love, I'll come up, Jeff Love, it'll be the first guy that pops up.
Dude, hell yeah, man. Thank you for being on the show. Everybody who's listening to this point, thank you for fucking listening to the show. And Izzy, thank you for being here to help us out with the cameras. And all that information that Jeff just talked about and whatever else links there are will be down in the description. Fuck yeah, let's go. And always remember, folks, think big, live better, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah, bro. That was awesome.
Good fun.
That was a great podcast.